right, welcome back to the Patriot Hour for July 7th, 2019. 7/7/2019. It's Sunday. It's early morning, and we got some breaking news that hit late last night, over throughout the night into today. So here at the Patriot Hour, we like to go over tidbits of information in our journey of seeking truth. Never take what we say here to be 100% truth or fact. Always do your own research. Always verify everything. Listen to everybody. Watch everything. Believe none of it, folks. Not a lick of it until you can verify it. So we promote using your discernment and careful of cognitive dissonance, and just do your facts, all right? So we're going to jump into a few articles here, one from Gateway Pundit, one from The Hill. If you are new, they have changed some things on YouTube. I was watching something yesterday, I believe, or maybe the day before, but some of the algorithms, again, folks, make sure you're checking your subscribed button. If you're new, hit the subscribe and then go over to the bell, ring the bell, and then toggle that. If you hit the bell and hit the lines next to it, there's going to come up with tons of ways you want to be alerted. Do you want to be alerted when we go live? Do you want to be alerted just when we put out a video? Do you want to be alerted for both? And how do you want to be alerted? Do you want your phone to buzz, ring, vibrate, whatever? You got to check into all that and get it set up best, that works best for you. All right. And only you know what's best for you. All right. So let's, and again, if you're new, welcome to the Patriot Hour. We welcome all patriots far and wide, and returning patriots, welcome back. Okay, here's an article from The Hill. Jeffrey Epstein arrested on trafficking-related charges. This came yesterday. In the evening, about 9 o'clock on The Hill here. So financier Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in New York on Saturday. Let me turn this down a little bit. New York on Saturday on charges related to sex trafficking, according to multiple reports. Epstein, 66, is expected to be arraigned in federal court on Monday in charges of molesting dozens of underage girls, sources told the Miami Herald. He was reportedly arrested by the FBI and is in custody in New York. His bail hearing is reportedly scheduled to take place on Monday. The bail hearing will be critical because if they grant him bail, he will disappear and they will never get him, a source in New York told the Herald. The arrest was first reported by the Daily Beast. The Hill has reached out to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York for comment. Both declined NBC's request for comment. Epstein has been accused of sexual assault by more than 30 girls. More than a decade ago, he pleaded guilty to sex trafficking, and he was sentenced to serve just 13 months in prison. The Miami Herald reported that as well. Epstein and his co-conspirators were given further immunity. Folks, this goes all the way up. If you look at the people that used to fly on his plane regularly, you had people like Bill Clinton. I mean, Bill Clinton has even gone as far as to evade his Secret Service. You know how past presidents, current presidents get Secret Service. As a past president, you're awarded one for the rest of your life. I read many of articles, gone over it here on the Patriot Hour. He's been at the airport. He has told his Secret Service, I got to use the restroom, and cuts off to the restroom. Secret Service guy will stand kind of outside the main restroom door, I'm assuming, and he would dupe them. He would come out the back door, come out another door, and multiple times the Secret Service did not board the plane that Bill Clinton got onto. Literally. And you can't blame, oh, what happened there, Johnny? I didn't see you when I came out of the restroom. I ended up getting on the plane. I didn't see you nowhere. It was purposely done. And then some of the, prominent Hollywood actors, tons of people have flown on this plane, folks. And supposedly it was wired up with cameras. They had actual individual rooms on there. They would do things in the air, flying from one place to the other. I don't know the extent. I don't know the exact list off the top of my head, but we do have flight logs. We have proof. All right, so this group was given immunity. The Herald's report also detailed former U.S. Attorney and current Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta's role in the agreement. Epstein is a friend both of President Trump and former President Bill Clinton. All right, so I'm not sure on the extent of Trump's relationship with this guy. They tried saying that they were really good friends, this and that. There's pictures, but the pictures I have seen is where Epstein came to like a Trump golf course to eat dinner, like at the restaurant area. And there had been pictures taken of him inside the restaurant, maybe even one with Trump. Now, this is, again, years ago. I don't know the extent of their relationship much more than I know the extent of him and Bill Clinton's relationship, other than the flight logs I'd seen that Bill Clinton, and the stories I've read about how he's duped Secret Service to get on that plane. So I don't know, but we will dig into this to see what we can find, folks. That's what we have to do. Daily Beast. Jeff Epstein arrested. All right, we'll just check this out where it broke from. Probably won't get much of a difference. So Jeffrey Epstein was arrested on Saturday and will appear in court on Monday to be arraigned, charged with sex trafficking. This is no lie, according to multiple law enforcements. So billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was arrested for allegedly sex trafficking dozens of minors in New York and Florida between the years 2002 and 2005. This is already a little better article. And will appear in court in New York on Monday, according to 3 law enforcement sources. Saturday's arrest by the FBI NYPD Crimes Against Children Task Force comes about 12 years after the 66-year-old financier essentially got a slap on the wrist for allegedly molesting dozens of underage girls in Florida. When you have like 30 people telling the same story, folks, come on. Now, if we remember this, Crimes Against Children, that was in the FBI's last summer IG report that got released. It had Anthony Weiner, Hillary Clinton, Crimes Against Children. This is exactly the words that were used. For more than a decade, Epstein allegedly abuse of minors have been a subject of lawsuits brought by the victims, investigations by local and federal authorities, and an exposés by the press. But despite the attention cast on alleged sex crimes, the hedge funder has managed to avoid any meaningful jail time, let alone federal charges. The new indictment, which, according to 2 sources, will be unsealed Monday in Manhattan federal court, will reportedly allege that Epstein sexually exploited dozens of underage girls in a now familiar scheme, paying them cash for massages and then molesting or sexually abusing them in the Upper East Side mansion of his palatial residence in Palm Beach. Epstein will be charged with 1 count of sex trafficking of minors and 1 count of conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking of minors, which could put him away for a maximum of 45 years. The case is being handled by the Public Corruption Unit for the Southern District of New York, which, with assistance from the district's human trafficking officials and the FBI. Several of the billionaire's employees and associates had allegedly recruited the girls for Epstein's abuse, and some victims eventually became recruiters themselves, according to law enforcement. The girls were as young as 14, and Epstein knew they were underage, according to details of the arrest and indictment shared by 2 officials. Epstein's attorney, Martin Weinberg, declined to comment when reached by the Daily Beast on Saturday night. The SD Southern District of New York also declined. It has been a long time coming. It's been too long coming, said attorney David Boyce, who represents Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts Griffey and Sarah Ransom. It is an important step towards getting justice for many of the victims of Mr. Epstein's sex trafficking enterprise. We hope that the prosecutors will not stop with Mr. Epstein because there were many other people who participated with him and made the sex trafficking even possible, he told the Daily Beast. In an era where #MeToo has toppled powerful men, Epstein's name was largely absent from the national conversation until the Miami Herald published a 3-part series on how his wealth, power and influence shielded him from federal prosecution. For years, the Daily Beast has reported on Epstein's alleged abuse and his easy jail sentence and soft treatment by the U.S. Attorney's Office, which ultimately scrapped a 53-page indictment against Epstein. An earlier version of the Epstein's plea deal included a 10-year federal sentence before his star-studded lawyers threatened to go to trial in a case prosecutors feared was unwinnable, in part because Epstein's team dredged up dirt on the victims, including social media posts indicating drug use. Meanwhile, the financier fitted among his homes in Palm Beach, New York City, and Virgin Islands, as well as a secluded Zorro Ranch in Stanley, New Mexico, transporting young women on his private jet to facilitate the sexual abuse that's gone unchecked by authorities, his alleged victims say. In an announcement planned for Monday, the FBI is expected to provide a number for other victims to contact the Southern District in New York, so people that haven't even filed or anything yet. As early as 2003, Vicky Ward's Vanity Fair profile cracked into Epstein's enigmatic facet, and Ward noted revealed he was definitely not what he claimed to be. Back then, allegations of sexual abuse leveled by one accuser, Mary Farmer, and her family were excised from Ward's piece after Epstein pressured the magazine. So they took him out of the magazine. Epstein's bust comes mere months after a federal judge ruled his 2007 non-prosecution agreement, secretly inked under the former U.S. Attorney and current Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta, violated federal law by keeping Epstein's victims in the dark. Under the sweetheart deal, Epstein dodged federal charges that might have sent him to prison for life. He instead pleaded guilty to minor state charges in Palm Beach and served 13 months in a private wing of a county jail, mostly on work release. So the alleged victims sued the government for violating the Crime Victims' Rights Act, asked the court to rescind Epstein's non-prosecution agreement, and called for feds to hold him in criminal liable. The MPA also granted immunity to Epstein's co-conspirators, identified in the document as including but not limited to Sarah Kellen, Adrian Ross, Leslie Groff, and Nadia Marcinkova, who knows. But in June, prosecutors for the government advised a judge to uphold the plea deal, saying that avoiding it would cause unintended harm to many of the victims and jeopardize monetary settlements that more than a dozen of them have received. But in June, prosecutors for the government advised a judge to uphold the plea deal, saying that avoiding it would cause unintended harm to unintended harm to many of the victims and their monetary settlements. If today's reports is true, it only proves that Epstein should have been charged by federal prosecutors 12 years ago in Florida. With his money, Epstein was able to buy more than a decade of delay in facing justice, but fortunately he wasn't able to postpone justice forever, said attorney Paul Cassell, who represents multiple victims of the Epstein and their lawsuit against the federal government. Excuse me here. So while New York prosecutors are apparently seeking to hold Epstein accountable, the fight will continue to force federal prosecutors in Florida to do the same thing, Cassell added in a statement. While Epstein was at the head of the international sex trafficking organization, the conspiracy could not have functioned without many of others playing their part. Jane Doe number 1 and 2 will continue to fight for all of Epstein's co-conspirators to be held accountable in New York and Florida. And anywhere else they committed crimes. Epstein reportedly supplied valuable intel to the federal investigators in exchange for his lenient plea deal. It has been speculated this information has been related to Bear Stearns executives' alleged crimes that led up to the 2008 financial crisis. I mean, here's this guy is getting hit up with sex trafficking and all that, but he's like, I got stuff on the guy that helped do the whole 2008 financial thing. I mean, and then, all right, we're interested, talk to us. And then he's able to give something, and then he doesn't go to jail for doing things to kids. That just doesn't make sense. And I haven't seen much of anybody go down for the 2008 thing. So what did they get from him that even, like they're interested? That was a whole sham too. All right. So according to Page 6 report, Epstein lost $57 million in the Bear Stearns collapse and was a victim identified as a major investor number 1. In the indictment of the hedge fund managers Ralph Corfey and Matthew Tannen, A federal jury acquitted Kofi and Tannen of securities fraud charges. But in March of 19, Fox Business reported that Epstein did not provide any meaningful cooperation to obtain his relatively light sentence. See? In the hedge fund case or anything else likely tied to the financial crisis. Jack Goldberger, one of Epstein's attorneys in the Palm Beach sex crimes case, told Fox of the Bear Stearns prosecution. Mr. Epstein was never spoken to by any of the authorities on this subject. He was a very large investor, no more, no less. One former federal prosecutor on the Bear Stearns case agreed, bottom line, I have no knowledge of the Epstein cooperating in any way with the Bear Stearns case. There was no reason to use him, the ex-prosecutor told Fox. So this goes on and on to talk about his victims. I had read this earlier. It's good stuff. I'll leave the link down below. We covered it. It just goes on to tell you more in depth. And folks, this could be the start of something that was covered up years ago. We're seeing things that were covered up years ago now come back into the court and be worked again under fair justice. And we're going to see the same with Clintons and everybody else, one by one, two by one. Who knows? All right. Shut this one down. I like to keep them short and sweet. I'm Mike. This is a Patriot Hour. Thanks for joining in. Please leave a comment. Take a look in the description box. All the links will be down below. And again, thanks for all the donations in the last month. Thanks for all the subscriptions and the sharing. You guys shared over 55,000 videos last month. 55,000. I just looked at, I got the little alert from YouTube. How is your channel doing this last month? 9,000 subscribers added. 54,000 shares, basically. So thank you. That's all you guys, and we appreciate it. And we'll see you back here on the next Patriot Hour update video coming real soon, later today, for sure. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you back here.